All right, so today we're gonna be going over 10, what I would say, Facebook ad creative styles that I've just personally seen work really well over the last couple weeks, even couple months, to be fair. I would say these are some like good core creative styles that just will tend to work at all times, and they're all pretty diverse. They give you a good mix of different types of content, all those good things like that. So that being said, let's dive into it. So we'll start off first one with the 11 Labs voiceover and B-roll. This is where basically I go ahead and I write a script out, and instead of getting a content creator to go film this, I will go ahead and use 11 Labs, which is an AI voice tool, and I'll used 11 Labs to basically create the voiceover. Now, one of the key things with 11 Labs to get it to sound really realistic, I find that there's a lot of awkward pauses with the default clip audio that 11 Labs sends you over. So what we'll do is we'll go in and just kind of cut out some of that dead space within our editing program. I know my editor uses Adobe Premiere, Adobe Suite and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure you can do that inside of CapCut as well for those people that are using CapCut and everything. And what we'll do is we'll just basically go and we'll have a bunch of B-roll. A-roll is what you're seeing right here, where the camera's pointing directly at me. I'm talking into the mic to the camera. That is A-roll. B-roll will be is when we put a video over this, where you can still hear my voice, but there's something going on in the background that's visually stimulating and keeping your attention while you still hear my voice in the background. That's B-roll. So B-roll is more just like clips of, let's say we're talking about how a girl started taking a supplement, her hair started growing like crazy and stuff, and it's very volumilicious. Now, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll show a bunch of clips of her like playing with her hair. We'll show clips of like close-ups of the hair, how amazing it looks. We'll show her like going about her day-to-day life, looking so much more confident and happy and stuff like that, while she's talking to the camera right there, to help tell that story from a visual perspective. What I always tell people is go line by line within your script and ask yourself, how can I visually articulate this? And then that's how we kind of match our voiceover to the B-roll. So just to give you an example real quick, I basically saved about 10 different creatives to show y'all today on Foreplay. So I'll just pop this one up real quick. Here you can see like in the background, there's a voiceover. I don't know if it's AI or not. To be fair, like for us, like we really make sure our voiceovers to 11 Labs doesn't sound AI. And that comes down to, number one, making sure that you are cutting out those pauses and those kind of like awkward like jumps in the audio and stuff like that. And then the second thing that we do is we go ahead and just the way we write the script, we make sure we read it out loud and it flows really well, like literally as I'm talking right here. So that's the first thing. Going into this, again, you can see or you can hear there's a voice in the background talking. We have captions. We have, the visual hook right here. We even have a text hook right here. And this is all B-roll, right? We hear someone talking in the background and we're just showing a lot of visual clips to help with that portray of, the voiceover, the script itself. So that's 11 Labs plus voiceover plus B-roll. This is probably one of my favorite ones because it allows me to go ahead and create and test a lot of scripts and stuff before I go and hand off to a creator. Now, as far as the B-roll right there, this is why it's really good to have a lot of video footage on file of people using your product. You're working with a lot of creators to get this B-roll and stuff. I'll also even use GridBank. GridBank is really cool too. I love this particular tool right here. And we've downloaded 353 video clips so far on GridBank. And basically what happens with, or what GridBank is that there's websites like Shutterstock, for example, and Shutterstock allows you to go and like download stuff in terms of like stock footage and everything. But the problem with stock footage is that for most stock footage, it looks stock. It looks like it was filmed professionally with like a high-end camera and stuff like that. But when it comes to social media content, the almost a little bit more raw, unpolished clips always do better. And this is what GridBank is. GridBank allows you to go ahead and they basically work with thousands of creators to film hundreds and hundreds of those clips every day, to where every month there's more and more footage on their website. And it just, I personally love it. I think it's a lot better than using AI for certain things, just because it looks a lot more raw and authentic. Now, not sponsored by GridBank whatsoever. As y'all can see, we've literally used it for over 353 different times. It's a little bit more on the expensive side, I will say that. So for a lot of newer beginners, it can be a little, what I would say, price challenging in the beginning. But yeah, so that's 11 Labs voiceover. Almost identical to 11 Labs voiceover is music plus B-roll. So here, where we're basically going ahead and we have our B-roll and stuff, we still have like a script, but instead of like going ahead and using the audio like we're doing right now, where we're talking and stuff like that, we're literally just putting captions and like music and stuff. This is a great example here where, you know, they're telling the story. There's just audio in the background. There's just sad music. That's it. Just to basically go and create that mood and stuff. And then there's these captions right here that just basically go ahead and help tell the story here. So this is a good example of that. I'm not a huge fan of this actual particular creative here, just because it's very dishonest, and you know, you'll probably you might get into some issues down the line with FTC for that. Next one we got is non-scripted UGC. Now, non-scripted UGC can be, I wouldn't say necessarily difficult, but it can be kind of like, wait, was that scripted or not? Realistically here, this is going to be one of those where it's like, we can tell the creator's being authentic. We can tell the creator is not reading from a script at all. We can tell the creator just popped this thing open and was like, loves it on a day-to-day basis, and they love it. This one, again, like I said, it will be difficult to really tell what's scripted versus non-scripted, but usually for us, for the non-scripted UGC, what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and send over a hook and 3 key talking points. Now, what do I mean by a hook and 3 key talking points? Well, your hook is 10 Facebook ad creative styles that's crushing right now. That's the theme of the video, and that's what you're going to call out. And then we want you to go over 10 different creatives in the video. We want to hit on each of the creatives in terms of like what the creatives look like and stuff. We want to call out each particular creative type right there. So notice right there, I just called out like 3 talking points and I called out the hook. And that's literally what was like put together for this video before I actually started filming this video today. That's the thing with like a non-scripted UGC right there. We're just giving them a hook. So, and then with 3 talking points for them to flow through. The 3 talking points I just told y'all about and the hook I told y'all about for this particular video here. I didn't really sit there and tell y'all the 20 or 30 minute long version of this video inside of that. So it's not really giving a full script. It's just a hook and 3 key talking points I want people to flow through. I'll still go do my research. I'll still kind of write a rough script. And that way I understand what I want to flow through and stuff like that. Then I'll be like, all right, here's the talking point number 1. I want you to start with this hook. I want you to go through this problem, this solution, this product, all of those good things. Here is non-scripted UGC here. This is one actually from Cuts Clothing. Again, I don't know if it's scripted or not, but just an example here. This guy's talking. Like, we don't really necessarily know if it's scripted or not, but like it flows well. He doesn't sound like a robot. He doesn't sound like he's reading from a script. It's pretty, what I would say, natural right there. Now, the next one is IG Reel Trends. So what I'll do is I'll basically go on Instagram Reels and just scroll Instagram Reels. And I like to just like, after like 20, 30 minutes of scrolling, I like to just kind of take a step back and like think about all the popular trends I keep seeing. And I'll probably do this in real time. I won't just like scroll for 30 minutes, then think about it as in real time as I'm scrolling. What are those trends I'm just seeing consistently? And this was actually a popular trend I've seen a while back and still tends to work really well, which is POV trend. This is where you take a 10 to 15 second long clip, sometimes even 5 seconds long, and you just put like POV and then like the result people want. So POV, you went from descaling your Facebook ads every day to doubling budget every day after you discovered these 10 Facebook ad creative styles. And then you're showing like the visual needs to be their desired state. And their desired state will be, you know, like in that case right there, I might show like a Facebook ads dashboard. I might show a Shopify store, something like that. But in that case right there, the visual, desired state, and then POV, just kind of like calling out the benefit or calling out the problem, and like how life is so much better now because of what you found or what you discovered or what you're doing now. POV, You wake up every morning feeling refreshed after discovering the 3-2-5 method. And then what the key thing here is that because it's so short, it's likely going to do really good for CPMs because it's going to have a high watch rate because it's such a short video. Second thing is that because we're visually showing what people want and desire, they're more likely to watch the video and stuff. And then the last thing is that we're using this to introduce the idea of something. And then we want to send people to an advertorial that goes deeper into the selling point right there. So these work really well, but I don't recommend just using a product page for this unless you're selling something that's simple, like clothing, for example. But for most like supplements and various info products and stuff like that, it works really well when you send people to some type of training page, advertorial, things like that. Now, next one is professional shoots. This is just like in general has always worked really well, where you're also mixing in some professional stuff. Giving this to Cuts real quick again as well. They did like obviously a much more professional video here. You got this guy talking, got these guys in like, you know, city and stuff. Like it just looks a lot more professional, and like you can tell like it was filmed to a higher degree than what you've already filmed a lot of your content. You may have used a lot of iPhone for a lot of content. Now let's also mix in some high-end professional stuff. You can do a lot of this by just working with like a local videographer and stuff. Any good videographer who has like his history of shooting good content like that, you should be able to see in their portfolio, and that way give you a little bit more confidence with working with them. As far as what we're showcasing and stuff, realistically here, we're just gonna take more of our best performing ads and reshooting them with a higher end content right there. That is it. Now, the next one is long form VSLs. To be fair here, for me, I've always looked at VSLs as a VSL page where you're sending traffic to a VSL page, and the VSL page is where you watch the VSL. But recently, more and more people have been running VSLs as like an actual ad creative itself. I think a VSL, this is where it's going to be more so like, because it's kind of hard to quantify what a VSL is compared to just a regular UGC script and stuff. But for me, it's like the big things that I'm looking for is that number one, it's more like brand talking to people, or like a spokesperson talking to people versus like a UGC creator. Because typically UGC is meant from the perspective of like, I was doing this, then I started doing this, and boom. Whereas like when you're talking more from like a third person perspective of like, if your dog eats grass every day, then he probably has this. This is why he has this. This is the problem, all of those things right there. Typically, we do see these work, or typically are more problem unaware stages that we're going after with a VSL here. We'll call out a big problem, a big symptom, and then we kind of go into that layer of just basically taking people through that sales process right there. These are gonna be more like long form sales letters. That's what a VSL is, a video sales letter. So you're still keeping that sales letter aspect for this when you're running a VSL. And these will be anywhere between like a minute to 3 minutes long. In this particular case right here, like this person, yes, could quote unquote be UGC, but the way it's being told, it's not going about like, hey, my dog ate grass every day. It just calls out if your dog eats grass every day. And then it's not even talking about his experience or his results and stuff like that. But I'm sure it'll probably go down the line. Let's see. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. It actually just uses other people's and stuff. So this is a pretty solid VSL. I like this. It's a good mix between both. What I would say like a little bit of UGC and taking people through that sales process and stuff. So, but again, this is where it's gonna be a little bit more problem aware, a little bit more unaware. You're using more of like a spokesperson level, or third person storytelling perspective right there. You're not really telling any personal stories like I did this and it transformed and stuff. It's more kind of telling it from that perspective right there. So that's the VSLs and stuff. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel going through like writing ads for the different stages of market awareness. So again, I'd be looking more at that problem aware and unaware stage for those VSLs right there. Now, next one is testimonial photos. These are very simple, very straightforward. We like to camouflage them in. When I say camouflage them in is, like this one right here where this girl is just taking a picture in front of the mirror. So make that a little bit bigger right there. So she's just taking a picture in front of the mirror, talking about how much she loves these socks, and boom, it looks very natural. So I love just taking customer photos, whether that's being the reviews or customer photos that they sent in, or even we'll do UGC video or photos for this as well. Just we want to make sure it looks natural. We want to make sure it looks like it's something that was posted by someone on social media, and it doesn't look like it was something where it was, like forcefully done, if that makes sense. Now, next one is product plus benefit photos. This is basically where you literally just go ahead and call out basically a benefit people want, showcase the product, and that's it. So these are pretty simple. This one's a little bit more simplified. See brighter, less puffy eyes in 1 to 2 days. I'd say the only thing different here that I may do is add in like some bullet points right here. This one again is going to be a little bit more solution aware, even problem aware right here. And we'll drive traffic here to like a listicle and an advertorial. We'll test both of those to see which one works a little bit better. Realistically, just kind of depends on what stage of market awareness you open up and how much selling is required to sell your product to people online. Now, next one is us versus them here. This is a very simple one. You're basically just showcasing your product versus other people's products. So let's just open this up a little bit more. So notice how for this one that we're not really showcasing the other product. That's just because like you don't want to get into any type of lawsuits and stuff like that. If you're going to showcase a competitor's product inside of an ad, you have to make sure it's factual information, not what I would say emotional or perspective driven. So what do I mean by that? Factual, it's a fact that this phone has, 1 terabyte of memory. And it's a fact that Samsung's phones only go up to 500 gigabytes. Now, again, I don't know the exact fucking memory size on phones. I don't really shop for phones much, but in that case right there, like those are both facts for consumers. It's a fact that this phone has 1000 DPI and Samsung has only 800 DPI for the screen. So you can only do product specific facts. And that's because what's going to happen here is like, you can't really get sued for that because you're just showcasing things that consumers already know. And you're just kind of highlighting them side by side. If you say something like, hey, their product sucks, and you showcase their product and their brand and everything, but there's no facts behind that, which that's just perspective driven right there, then you can get sued for that for defamation and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind right there. If you're gonna do an us versus them, if you're gonna kind of talk like damage caused due to bleach, high pH, harsh formulation, irritates scalp, skin, like all of these things need hundreds of clinical studies and stuff to provide proof for that right there. If not, like you can get sued for saying things like this. Even if it has a bunch of bleach in it, unless you have clinical studies and proof that this does cause bleach for the majority crowd and stuff that people take that particular product right there, then like, let's just say it's one person out of 5,000 people that get issues because of the bleach and stuff. Like that's still just gonna be talking like, you're gonna be saying things about someone that's gonna potentially get you sued right there. So don't do that shit. So if you're gonna talk like this, just make sure that you cover up the brand and stuff to where, you don't run into any potential lawsuits for yourself. Last one is news style images. I love these a lot because these are just more like, and this is actually one of our clients right here that we did this for, and it's worked really well for them, where it just kind of looks like this news article and stuff. And it's going back to that camouflage aspect that I love to talk about, where it looks like it's something that people are already seeing from an organic side. And then now we're just using this to introduce our new mechanism or our calling out a problem and getting that traffic to, again, I'd definitely be doing an advertorial or listicle for this, more specifically an advertorial. And I love these a lot. Key thing here is kind of making that like new, breaking, those things work really well for this. I know for us, we did was new viral laser treatment vanishes acne in 30 minutes. That's a true claim right there because we went through hundreds of clinical studies for that particular product and stuff. So, and we have like doctor certifications and stuff for that product. So it's not like it's fake claim. And then worked really well for that breaking news line. So these are 10 things that, again, they work really well for us. Obviously, like, you can do all these creative styles and stuff and have horrible copy. Like if you don't know what words to put in these, if you don't know what scenes to film in these, like it's going to be horrible for you. So just kind of keep that in mind, that these are just styles in that sense right there. And then the messaging and the visuals you put within that style is going to create the biggest impact for that. That's why I regularly talk about research and creating new messaging and iterating on messaging and all of those things right there to further keep allowing you to, find new winning ads and stuff like that, take big swings and all those good things. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you want me to run your Facebook ads, click the link below to have Nick Theriot run your ads. And then if you want me to, hop on a call with you, go through your ads and your ad account and all of those good things right there, the click link below to have Nick Theriot mentor you. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good rest of y'all day. Peace out.